Issue 19, Platonic Friends. A. My husband and I are trying to put our marriage back together after his affair with another woman. We've been in counseling and learned a great deal about ourselves and each other. I believe him when he says he wants to stay with me and work things out. I also believe that he has been faithful since we started counseling. There is one sticking point, however. He insists that I accept this other woman as his friend, someone with whom he can share his work and intellectual interests. The friend has had more formal education than I, but I am not a dummy. Their friendship consists of phone calls, letters, and an occasional drink. I know he continues to share personal information about our marriage with this woman, and she advises him. I can't believe that her input is unbiased, nor do I believe that her own needs and desires don't affect her judgment. I must add that I have never cared whether or not my husband's friends were male or female. He has other female friends, which is okay with me because I don't feel they are a threat to our marriage. I'm unable to be impartial towards this woman, however, because she tried to break up our home and hurt our children. B. I am a 44-year-old woman who is having a platonic relationship with a 35-year-old man. There is nothing sexual involved. We just have lunch together and maybe see a movie every few weeks. My husband just began to grumble about our relationship and ordered me to knock off those lunches and movies. But I think I am an adult who is free to have lunch with any friend I choose, regardless of age, sex, race, creed, or marital status. C. I'm a 27-year-old single woman living in a fairly small town. I've worked with a married man for 5 years, and I would say we were good friends. He suggested that we meet in another town, have a few drinks, and get a hotel room. I was offended, walked away, and refused to speak to him for 3 weeks. He's 42 and has 3 children. I started talking to him again, and he hasn't harassed me in any way. He's well respected in the community, and I've told no one about his suggestion. I really like him a lot, but I would never forgive myself if I were to become sexually involved with a married man. If he had just suggested the drinks and not the hotel room, I might have accepted. I would like to know him better, and there aren't many opportunities to talk at work. Is it okay for us to become closer friends and maintain a platonic relationship? I don't want to hurt his marriage or his reputation, but I'd like to know him better intellectually, not physically. I could learn a lot from him. We have not discussed his suggestion since I turned him down. Should I bring it up and make my feelings clear to him?
Comprehension. A. 1. What is getting in the way of the couple putting their marriage back together? 2. Do the husband and his girlfriend enjoy their relationship? 3. Why does the wife feel okay about her husband's other female friends? 4. Why does the wife worry about this particular woman? B. 1. How old is the woman's friend? 2. What do they do when they see each other? 3. Does her husband accept the relationship? 4. Why does she think she has a right to have a relationship with anyone she chooses? C. 1. How long has she worked with the married man? 2. What did he suggest recently? 3. Why did she refuse his suggestion? 4. Did he continue to rub her the wrong way after she rejected his suggestion? 5. Why does she want to know him better? Let's talk. One. Is it possible for a man to see a woman as a friend after they have had a love affair? 2. Is friendship or a platonic, non-sexual relationship possible between a man and a woman? 3. If your spouse had a close platonic relationship with a person of the opposite sex, could you accept it? 4. Would it be more acceptable if the relationship were open or secretive? 5. Have you ever had a platonic relationship with someone of the opposite sex? 6. Do you think that common interests, hobbies, work, or intellectual pursuits would be a good enough reason for a platonic relationship? 7. Do you think either a husband or a wife has a right to order the end to a platonic relationship of the spouse? 8. What is your definition of platonic friendship? Opinion samples. 1. They talk on the phone, write letters, and meet occasionally to have a drink. And he wants to call it platonic? Nonsense. I don't buy that. Question. Do you think such apparently harmless activities comprise something more than a relationship between just friends? 2. Her husband needs to grow up. The relationship is not secret, and she says there is nothing sexual about it. I think her husband has nothing to worry about. What we would really have to worry about is a secret relationship, which inevitably entails sexual wrongdoing. Question. Do you think there is nothing to worry about if the relationship is open? Issue 19. Platonic Friends.
You remember all that talk we had about platonic relationships?
Sure. I think it's possible to have close friendships with people of the opposite sex, and you don't.
No, I know better. Men are only after one thing from women, and that's sex.
I don't want to argue with you about this, but I know you're wrong. Men and women are equally human and have many things other than sex to bring into their relationships.
I don't want to argue either.
Then why did you bring the subject up?
I just found out something.
Yes, what?
Well, platonic friendships doesn't really mean non-sexual relationships between men and women.
What does it mean then? I always hear it used in that sense.
Yes, of course, we commonly use it that way, but it isn't what the expression really means.
Okay, then please, tell me what it actually means.
It refers to Plato's love for a much younger man. It's all about homosexual relationships.
Really? But Plato was a great philosopher. He always seemed so intellectual and unfeeling. I can't imagine his being gay.
Homosexuality was not uncommon among the ancient Greeks. They wrote about it constantly, in the most romantic kinds of ways. They wrote lots of poems celebrating same-sex fantasies and experiences. Even the great heroes, like Achilles and Alexander the Great, had male lovers.
This is all news to me. It's hard to believe.
But it's true. And Sappho of Lesbos was a famous woman poet who wrote about her desires for other women. That's where lesbian gets its meaning.
Wait a minute. I've read a lot of Greek poetry. I've never noticed this phenomenon.
Oh, the Greeks wrote a lot of heterosexual verse too, of course. And I suppose most of the translators have deliberately softened the homosexual nature of the rest, making it less obvious and so more palatable to most modern readers.
But even so, Plato? I always think of his Republic and Critias. I can't really see him as a very romantic fellow with either sex.
Shows you how much you know. He was also a major poet.
Really? You mean philosophical poetry?
No, mainly love poems about men.
I'm dumbfounded.
It seems that it was a widespread practice for older, established members of the community, and especially the ones we would call professors, to take a close interest in their young male disciples. The relationship between them would become extremely close and intense.
I would say so if this included having sex with them.
Apparently that was usually the case, but I'm not so sure that we're very different.
What? How can you say that?
I mean, a lot of men in our society, and especially professors, play the same role to their own protégés. The only difference that I can see is that nowadays these are usually heterosexual relationships, not homosexual ones.
Questions. 1. Who was Plato? What did he write? 2. What does Platonic mean when used to describe personal relationships? 3. Why do you suppose translators have distorted the original meaning?